Listen to the people. Listen to humanity. Listen to the Parrot. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot. Listen to the people. Listen to humanity. Listen to the Parrot. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Listen to the people. Listen to humanity. Listen to the Parrot. Parrot TV. 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 Parrot TV.
The Literary Corner, brought to you by New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity. Hi, welcome to New York Parrot's Literary Corner. I'm Dustin Pickering, your noble and honest host. This is episode 207. We have a fascinating gem of a visual artist. His name is Chad Sorg. He believes artists were the original self-promoters, and acknowledging the good work of others is the best way to promote the self. For 10 years, he was a fish bowler living in public spaces and blogging. For 10 years, he promoted the Art in Motel Rooms art exhibit that he helped create, manage, and promote. And at this point, over 400 creatives have involved themselves with the Nada Dada Motel. In 2011 and 2012, he helped create the International Car Forest of the Last Church, mounting cars and buses vertically up from the ground. Since then, he's been in the New York Times, USA Today, Wall Street Journal, Time Magazine, and Ripley's Believe It or Not. Today, he lives in his hometown of Fort Wayne, Indiana. And as a side note, he has been Facebook banned worse than anybody you can imagine for his conservative views, as well as his fascinating portraits of art. So we'll talk a little bit about his experience there and what people may comment as the program goes forward. So, Chad, tell us a little bit about your experience with media. You know, that's interesting that you have a pretty good resume there of New York Times, the USA Today. Did they get in touch with you? What was the cause for that?
Yeah, well, the context was the New York Times. That was about Nada Dada Motel.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the show that was started in 2000. We can talk about that in a minute. But a lot of people involved in that show. After that, most of the media, national media, was for the Car Forest.
Mm-hmm.
That's in Goldfield, Nevada, and it's cars standing out of the ground. So people want to know,
wow,
what caused this?
Tornadoes. Right.
Yeah.
You just dropped them in and you painted them.
And I love telling a story for sure. Yeah.
Make up a good story about it.
Or aliens drop the cars. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I've heard different stories about aliens dropping cars and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. It's fascinating. It's an interesting. I said it's very interesting. Some of these projects, it's really outside the box thinking. I mean, putting exhibits in hotel rooms and having cars sticking out of the ground and painting those as, making those exhibits. I mean, where do you come up with these ideas?
Really, honestly, Nevada kind of inspires people for that kind of weirdness, I think. Where Reno is, just 2 hours to the north, is where Burning Man is. And if you've ever been to that desert, it's so perfectly flat, like a table. And it's disorienting. And then where Goldfield is, it's full of Joshua trees and people that just want to be alone. So I kind of fit in there. It's a weird little town. It's only 200 people. Everybody just wants to live out in the desert. And so we all just kind of stuck to ourselves. But me and that guy, we buried cars.
Mm-hmm. And I believe he served Chamber of Commerce there for a while as well in Goldfield.
Yeah. I gave it a try. That was pretty exciting. I think I think we actually did good things for Goldfield. maybe, really good things for Goldfield. And but at the time there was fear that I was going to bring like Burning Man type people there, and it was going to be a nudist colony and all of that. So maybe that's true. But
Possibly.
no, I mean,
happen.
what we wanted was just publicity, promotion, and I think it worked.
Excellent. So tell us a little of the story behind this this Trump portrait. It's just a fascinating story, and I, I was kind of on the sidelines of that to some degree. It's an excellent portrait, by the way. It's quite artfully done.
Oh, thank you.
I love it. I mean, from what I understand, there was a lot of controversy on both sides of the aisle. I mean, some of the conservatives didn't like it, and the Republicans didn't like it, and some of of course, the liberals didn't like it because it's Trump, and they don't like anything Trump. So, tell us a little bit about what inspired this, and what was your purpose, and what direction did you take the art itself? There it is in the background as we see it.
He's in the background there. Maybe I'll move back there in a minute, but. That was when he was up for re-election. Yeah. When I painted that, I actually painted it and was ready to donate it to the Republican Party. So I actually approached the president, of the local Republicans. His name's Steve Shine, and he was very gracious to bring me in. It was kind of a last minute thing. I was like, I want to donate this painting, and we're going to do a silent auction. So it's a little pricey. So I couldn't start the price at the bottom, but I was going to give all the money to the Republicans, and nobody bit. So there was an article in the paper, and we got the word out there, but maybe next time around.
2024, maybe. So why
he started a network of his own.
Yeah, it's a social media.
He started a network of a couple days ago they announced that. So maybe I'll just get on there and.
Speaking of social networks, why is Facebook targeting you? I've had them harass me a little bit and kind of hassle me a little bit, and they hassle everyone to a certain extent. But why exactly? Are they so intent on getting you off the platform? I know I have another friend, Robin Wyatt Dunn, who was booted as well. They just excluded him off, and he said he's done. So I can totally understand that happens. I'm just curious what the process was.
This might be the reason.
Well, they banned the man himself off of Twitter. So they're really
he said innocuous things that and he got banned for, and that's exactly what I'm up against myself. Actually,
so what type of things?
Since 2020, since the beginning of 2020, I was banned for 8 entire months. By now, it might be up to 9 months, but I don't know anybody banned so much. And the reason I get banned, I mean, at this point, was that yesterday? Yesterday, they banned me again. I quoted, there were curse words. I quoted the movie Pulp Fiction because there was a picture posted of Pulp Fiction. My friend posted this picture. He didn't turn me in. It wasn't like that. Right. You see, that's the thing. It's not people getting offended turning me in. That's not what happens. It's because it's always like that. It's a good friend. We are joking, collegial or whatever the word is for that. Joking, fraternizing or whatever. What's the word? I'm looking for a word, but it doesn't matter.
Just joking around.
Literary. So I'm trying to.
Right.
And having a sense of humor. So now it's like they're taking every opportunity to get me. If I make a joke that has cuss words in it or says, I'll execute every last one of you, that's what the quote says, I get banned. Like, really? And then there's no recourse for that, of course. Of course they won't.
Yeah, you can't appeal to them.
I've been through it.
Can't say anything.
No, COVID, we don't have the staff. Like, oh, yeah, that's convenient. Really? I mean, they've
never had anything like
at a time.
When I would get in trouble with them, I would just, say I appeal this decision. Stupid stuff sometimes they come after me for something I said 3 years before or something, and it's like,
Yeah,
I didn't do anything like 3 years before. Yeah, they do that to me a lot.
Okay.
They used to. They don't do it
That's
as
what
much now.
these are.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what a lot of these are. They're you know, they're old things that were said. And it's always just stupid things. It's not like hate speech, whatever that is. It's just stupid things.
It's very ubiquitous label these days, and it's funny that it's Facebook's algorithms and its community standards that are working on that, but people themselves actually do this too. On like Twitter, you'll see people, I dug up something so and so said 3 years ago. He's homophobic. Let's get him banned off the Oscars or something like that. It's really getting him to be.
I mean, to be frank, because you're probably wondering, people are wondering, why do I get banned? It's speaking up about the vaccination, number one, speaking up about Trump in this retarded election in Arizona. I hope they make a big stink about it and get all the states to recount their votes. But there are a lot of things that I spoke up about. I feel like the My Pillow guy, you know, Mike Lindell, you know who that is, My Pillow. And he did the whole thing about the election, showing how the fraud happened. We probably can't even say that this video get banned just for saying that. It's crazy.
Right.
And the vaccine, I mean, are you kidding me? It's so incredibly dangerous, but we can't discuss that. You know, believe me or don't believe me, whatever, just like it always was.
There's no right to question. It's like, this is what's going to happen.
We can't even, we can't even talk about it. Like, that's really weird. We can't show doctors talking about it if it goes against the narrative. And it's just that kind of thing all the time. I'm posting that kind of stuff and I'm never going to quit. So I don't know. I'm not sure what's in store for me.
Giving you a time frame of when they're going to let you back on. They usually say, oh, you're banned for 2 weeks or whatever. They flag you, something like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm going back on in 7 days, you know, and I notice, see, they get me for these dumb things like you and I discussed. It was 3 years ago or whatever. Literally what I said this time was, you know, months ago. It was like 3 or 6 months ago. And it had nothing to do with anything serious, like I said. Was that the... anyway, I get them all mixed up, but they dig to find something old just to give you a false reason. You know, they don't tell you the real reason you can't post anti-vax, blah, blah, blah. They don't say that. They say, oh, you said Superman. And then the word Ubermensch. Literally, I got banned for that one time.
Wow.
Ubermensch. That means Superman in German. That was it. It was a picture.
Can't bring the Germans in. We just can't do that though. You can't talk about the Germans. They're germs.
You can't use a German word. I mean, Nietzsche is what I was referencing.
Right.
I understand the connotation that they're trying, but that's ridiculous. You can't speak about Nietzsche.
Right.
Speak about Nietzsche because
quite an interesting overload of their sensitivities. You know, it's just like they're jumping on every little potential, you know, infraction and using that to just, you know, sideline people with views that they don't particularly agree with for whatever reason that may be. And you know, and the way, you know, the democratic process works in terms of information is that it's a field day. You know, everyone's saying whatever they want to say, and people may own their own decisions, whatever they're going to do, or whatever they're going to believe. And it's kind of weird that they're trying to kind of sort of push a sort of particular, you know, streamlined narrative, you know, and it's not just the vaxes, it's not all that. It's like, there's so many different things, and now we've got this ubiquitous hate speech stuff, and it's like anything is hate speech almost. It seems like quite crazy. Jordan Peterson, actually, he's one of the paintings that I think you showed there. He, you know, went through that in Canada, and it was the pronoun. That was we lost you there.
Pronoun.
A little bit of a
okay.
Oh, go ahead.
National.
Sorry, there was a little network lag there.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Jordan Peterson. I don't know if you heard me saying that.
Yeah.
But in Canada, it was the issue was how does he say that? It's impelled speech is his issue. he's not against trans people in any way. That's not the issue for him. Now, for the trans people, I understand this is their issue. They need you to say their pronouns. But his issue was, if I know you, I probably will give you that courtesy because that's how I am. I'm going to say the pronoun that you want, but the government can't tell me. It's demanded. I mean, how do you demand that? Like, what if I say I'm a woman? You have a beard, sir. Well, I'm a woman. I mean, where's the edge there? And if what I'm saying is, you have that freedom.
Right,
should
of
the
course.
government be able to,
And I think most people believe, you can live your life as you choose, and we will respectfully honor whatever position you are and give you the nod, and it's like the government stepping in and saying we have to infringe some kind of standard on you that, and I remember hearing that Peterson himself got a lot of mail from transgender and transgender activists saying that they actually supported his actions. And there were a few, a lot of people were uppity about it, and it was a lot of TV programming. And he's very misrepresented, if you ask me. I find him to be, to me personally, I like listening to him. He says things I don't always agree with, but I like listening to what he says. He's articulate and he's direct, and he's portrayed as a monster. And he was recently invited to do an interview that he was told would be fair and representational of him. And they ended up slamming him. There's his eyes. He's coming after you. Yeah, that was. I don't know if you heard about the old the portrayal, and I think it was in Captain America. He was portrayed, as Red Skull, and they made a joke about it. His family made a big joke about it. With clean your room and have the lobster, and he put out the shirts. He was selling these shirts, and he was going to donate money, the funds from the shirts to causes to help families and mentally ill people. And what ended up happening was there was one particular organization that said, we don't want to associate with it. $75,000 are going to give them with nothing attached. And I said, we don't want to associate with you. We don't even want you to mention our name. And they politely said, well, we won't do it. When they found a different cause to donate to, a different organization, Michaela Peterson did a podcast on that. Yeah. So that was the official story from their side.
What is causing that? What do you think? That's a great example. That's insanity. That's crazy. I don't understand why that was. I think a psychologist.
Well, I think the further polarized we get as a society, we're going to one extreme or the other. It seems like it's become mainstream. And to me, he's like a moderate conservative, and he's also very open-minded. He says things that sort of may pique a lot of people's anger, because he says things like, it seemed like he's being sexist or saying that women shouldn't have sexual freedom or something like that. And they take that, and they blow it out of proportion. And the thing about dominance hierarchies, sounds like he's saying, some people have the right to push others around. And what he's really saying is the people that are running things are the most competent. We can always upturn that order and put other people in control, but they're not going to be any better. If whatever's going on there, the elites are the elites, and I'd rather have the elites that actually earn their power and work for it and so forth, and have people just, go out there with their guns and shoot a bunch of people and take power. That's I'd rather people that know what they're doing.
Well, that makes me think of an example. I call it my Bible. It's called the 48 Laws of Power. Have you ever heard of this book? And it's by, have you read it or one of his books?
No, I haven't. I've heard about it, yes. But I've not read it.
Yeah, right. He was editor at Vanity Fair, actually. So he's very competent in literature, and that's actually where he gets the material for the book about power. So he talks about everyone from Caesars and various rulers, good and bad rulers, Nero, one of the worst maybe, but to Jesus Christ and Muhammad and Gandhi and Buddha, and Gandhi. I said Gandhi. He is powerful. Gandhi is powerful. The thing that people shriek from when I tell them that this is my Bible, they shriek like, shriek, you shouldn't want power. I say, but Gandhi was powerful. You don't have to use power for your personal gain. But like Jordan Peterson actually talks about, if you do gain, it's a capitalist country. There's nothing wrong with it. But as long as you are, you're compassionate with your power, like Gandhi. I'm not comparing Jordan Peterson to Gandhi, like not even slightly. I'm actually contrasting them. Gandhi did not work for money, and Peterson very frankly works for money. In one episode, he actually went all the way through how much money he makes in speaking engagements and the whole thing. He was just so frank and so honest about it. It was like, I have never even seen that ever. I don't remember anyone ever going through how much they make, doing public speeches and stuff. And that the point was about that book, 48 Laws of Power. People are afraid of power because you're going to use it for good.
Become dictators. We're going to take a brief break, and we'll be right back with some more talk with Chad Sorg.
They often wonder aloud, can't we go back to the good old days when protesters were like Martin Luther King Jr., peaceful?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light?
We answer, have you forgotten he was murdered as well?
What so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming.
Hoses, dogs, batons beat faces and heads, causing blood to spill.
Whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous
jail cells moaned for relief as they were filled past capacity with black men in three-piece suits.
O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming.
Bridges blocked on a bloody Sunday.
And the rockets reckless, the bombs bursting in air.
A church firebombed, flames dispatching forward innocent little black girls off to see heaven's gates.
Gave proof through the night that our flag was still
Volunteer
there.
voter registrars shot in their car as peaceful protesters were found dead on the side of a dimly lit road.
Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave?
Young black men sent to fight and die in war, yet here sharing lunch counters with whites was against the law.
Or the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Were those really the good old days?
Listen to the people. Listen to humanity. Listen to the Parrot. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Listen to the people. Listen to humanity. Listen to the Parrot. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Listen to the people. Listen to humanity. Listen to the Parrot. Parrot TV. 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 Parrot TV.
The Literary Corner, brought to you by New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity. Welcome back to episode 207. We have Chad Sorg here. If he has his poetry ready or his writings available, we'd love to hear some of your writing. Or you can just, if you have an essay maybe or something you would like to read to get us a sample of some of your writing skills.
Cool. Yeah, I have a poem.
Excellent.
This is, let me ask you, do you say harbinger or harbinger?
I usually go with the jur. Harbinger.
Okay, all right.
Well, that's my token. That's my. I think it's a mispronunciation, but I usually do say that. It just for some reason it's
probably
marketing. I can take it however I want. It's my product. Go ahead.
Harbinger Asylum.
Excellent. Not a data motel.
Yeah, this was our not a data issue. We had a bunch of poets and artists contribute to this one in various ways. I have a poem that I want to read from there. It's fairly short, and I think it's got some juice. So, you ready?
Absolutely.
For all the art fighters, all the art fighters of the world, we stand. For all the loner souls and the vacancy lovers, and for the timid boxers, for the anarchist mothers, this stand is for the powerful minds buried in the minions of the masses who know better than funded juries and stable commitments to charitable trusts like committee function. This stand serves as a reminder for the lost who've forgotten their power, and for those burdened with a love for the arts. They must know that creative effluence need not be sanctioned or fashioned to fit a certain mold, and the tired messages of consumption, possession, mastery, privilege, it's all come to a head now, this massive masturbation. We stand naked in our motel rooms against the bullshit and fakery. Individualism, like art, is far from dead, far from perfect, far from dead.
Interesting. It's a poem of celebratoriness. It's celebrating life and art and the beauty and the pureness of just being a person in the world and expressing oneself and as one sees fit. And it's an excellent. And you use going back to the Nata Data, you use the motel image there to kind of anchor it a little bit. Interesting. It's quite an interesting work. And I really enjoyed putting that issue together. I don't know. I think that was in 2014, 2013. Not quite sure what year that was, but it was a pretty good time ago. So that particular 2014, you're right. That particular moment in time, of your showcasing artwork across the board. I mean, we're talking you've showcased 400 artists over time, and these hotel things, Nata Data Motel. Yeah. So as you were talking about, it's is there time for yourself? I mean, do you have time to promote yourself at all? I mean, and work in these kinds of things when you're doing them. Where do you find the time to sit down and do your own work as well as promote yourself?
Well, that's why I moved back to Cornland.
Cornland.
It's just me in the cornfields. Cornfields.
You were scared to come alive.
Yeah. When it's going on, yeah, it's actually every artist had his own motel room, but I ended up just not even trying to have a room anymore because I was, service to others, I guess, when you that was my art, taking care of people and trying to figure out what they need and jumping between the rooms.
Right.
Yeah. But through the years, I mean, we were always anarchists in our approach. In other words, no person is in charge. Duocracy. I like that word. The people that do, like if you want to edit a book of poetry with Nata Data, you go ahead and do that. We always went like that. So over the years, it became more and more anarchy, in a good way. It truly worked on its own because more and more people understood the deal was, it's on me. So I got to rent this room and do my own show.
Excellent. So, and speaking of self-promotion, we're going to show a little slideshow again, and you can kind of give us, sort of guide us through briefly through these individual artworks of yours. We've showed a few of them already, but let's go through this slideshow and see what we can gather our audience, what they think, as well as what you have to say about each piece.
TED
Nice
Talk.
card.
That was my business card. Fish bowling. Dalai Lama. And then that's me fish bowling under the logo there. I'll talk about the logo in a minute. That's how I am. Obey. That's what gets me kicked off. There he is, doubled up. He's the man. Jordan Peterson. Similar attitude from people.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, back to the business card. The business card was I was what I wanted to tell you was I was actually window cleaning when I was fish bowling. So I'd stay in the window like in LA. I stayed on Sunset Boulevard in a furniture store. It was very cool. It's called the Living Room. And that was my living room for a week, Sunset Boulevard. But I would get out and go make some money. I would window clean and I'd come back to and it's what I do now. I'm still a window cleaner.
Excellent. So tell us what is fish bowler? I remember when you were doing that. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah. Well, that what I was describing there, I stay in a public place, usually a storefront. The last one I did was here in town, here in Fort Wayne, in a little bookstore, like the coolest books. I mean, I've been in bookstores all over the country, and it really is a great place. It's got that smell, the bookstore smell. 2 cats live in the store, so you get the idea what kind of place it is. Carpet, the cats, and that book smell. And that was 2 years ago. I just live in the front window, and I blog, talk to people online. So I'm sort of sequestered, quarantined, but at the same time, I'm completely in the public eye, exposed.
So you write about what's going on around you, or do you just jot down thoughts?
Yeah, a lot of times, like in LA, I was interviewing other artists, like, what I had said about promoting others. It's a good way to get people to watch my show, to invite artists to come on, that kind of thing. So it was a lot of that. And that was, when I discovered that, it was like I had some content for the show. Before, it was just me just doing weird stuff with Hot Wheels cars or something, or making a little picture or something. And then it became about other people, That's
interesting. Cool. So when did you kind of transition in opinion to a conservative? You were more, I guess, an anarchist or maybe an anarcho-libertarian kind of styled person, and then you sort of moved a little to the conservative end. When did you do that, and what prompted you that direction?
I think when I felt like actually getting involved in politics is when I had to shift away from anarchy, because it's not politics, is what
it's much broader than that. It's a social philosophy, really.
You know more about anarchy than I do, and there's a whole literature, and it's a beautiful thing for people just to understand it. So I would still say that I'm definitely anarchist at heart, but you gotta grow up or whatever. Ron, no offense to anarchists, I don't mean it that way. You know what I mean. Ron Paul, when he was running, that was libertarianism. It was like, what the hell are these guys? Anarchists, baby anarchists, that kind of thing. Which is sort of what I thought.
Minarchists.
Yeah, minarchists. Yeah,
I've heard libertarianism described as sort of like you take anarchism and you make it a practical political philosophy, and that's what I've.
There it is. Yeah.
A lot of people confound it with the kind of Republican conservative mindset. It's very different than that in a lot of ways. It's more decentralized, spontaneity, social arrangements, kind of, stuff like that. And even on social issues, I mean, you look at the social issues that libertarians stand for, and then you look on the conservative side, they're very almost diametrically opposed on a lot of things.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm.
So yeah, in my opinion, you would hear conservatives say they're pro-life. Well, most any libertarian would say they're pro-choice, exempting Ron Paul.
I am still, I mean, you have to be your own thing. I'm still not 100% pro-life, even though I definitely lean that way. I mean, it's the thing when you have an issue like, abortion, that's a serious topic. So it has to come down, if we're going to make a rule, a law, we have to talk to each other, and there's no other way. We have to agree at some point. So, so I think the pro-life people, when they're very extremist, and then the pro-choice people, well, you guys, we got to do something.
That's what I was referring to earlier. Is like this polarity of society, and you come in with a moderate worldview, and it's like you're the enemy. I consider Jordan Peterson to be moderate, moderate conservative.
I wanted to mention. Yeah, when you mentioned the polarization, recently I've started to get into kind of spiritual things. I mean, a cult is what it is, kind of a cult. If you know much about a cult, it's not the big evil thing that they say. Right. Anyway, polarity is one of the key, this reality that we live in, and that's a good segue for me to talk about my art, by the way, because the red and blue thing, that's what I do it. It's about polarity. And like in my paintings, when you look at a lot of them, you see a lot of red and blue, red and blue, red and blue. Why is that? Because that balance, it's balance. I'm letting this color be extreme and this color be extreme, and they're beautiful together. They're so different. They're beautiful. So so that's what I'm going for. And with spirituality, that's the polarity, is what we're trying to get past eventually. And I'm deep in the polarity myself, as you can see. I'm deeply on the conservative side in a lot of things, but I'm not an extremist to where I'm at the edge. It's just that I strongly believe this way, and if someone believes another way, that's great. We should talk about it, or not talk about whatever. But it's not right. I'm not going to be mad at you for thinking differently.
And I think that's really the essence of the thing. It's like people these days, it's like they can't seem to disagree, especially on social media, because it's a big performance. It's a big place where people can just throw their opinions and be jerks all they want, and no one can punch you in the face. But when you come face to face, it seems like there's a little more dialogue. There's a little more of I see you as a person. And it feels like, in this point in time, it's like more people are getting frustrated. We're seeing the economy kind of slowly, it's like in an in-between zone. It's falling apart, and it's picking back up in some ways. And people are very confused and uncertain as to what's next. And I think most of us out there want to get back to work and get things going and moving back into the direction they were before COVID and all that, and for the lockdowns. And we don't know what's going to happen next. And we're at each other's throats, and then you have the political polarization. It's like this time in history is like, there's like no other, So, I mean, it's ripe for a lot of art, and I like how you talk about using color as a symbolic polarization and the occult and how that works, because color is powerful. Color is extremely powerful. It's like, for me, language is my tool, and but I understand color. You can even use, colorful language. You can take color and like what Rimbaud did some of this symbolic use of color, but it's fascinating to me that you're not just doing portraits. You're actually trying to convey something bigger than that, than just a picture of a face.
Yeah, in fact, when I did Trump, that was the first piece that felt strictly political. This is political. There's no way around it. But what's funny is, it's not a view. I didn't put a view into that painting. I didn't put an opinion. I just put his face, and his face caused so much excitement from people. And I wouldn't call it good, but it was exciting. I mean, if you're not ready for it, it could blow you away. But I was definitely ready for it. I'm used to Facebook in general. You know, people are just assholes,
Right.
not all the time,
Like I
quite
said,
often.
can't
So
punch
you
them in
just
the
have
face
to let
if they
them.
get out of control.
Yeah,
Right.
you just have to let people be how they're going to be. How they react to my painting is just how they're going to react, and I would have a little fun with it. The comments were really fun to talk to people and sort of mess with them without trying to get in a fight. But yeah, then the other stuff that I do is such the opposite. It's, you know, it's duality. It's still as much friction as the Trump painting, but it's in my head. It's all in a whole different mind space, you know, universe. It's in an abstract universe. So there's still contrast, you know, there's still battles going on. In fact, a lot of my paintings I name with battle, you know, the fight for whatever. But it's totally different. It's very peaceful.
You did a cover for a Harbinger some time ago. There was a kind of a mandala-like effect on it. You know, it was a really colorful,
yes,
you know, and it was in and of itself, it's motion, very fluid motion to it. But at the same time, it was, you know, the color in it was very defined. So, I mean, is that another sort of conceptual thing you were working on at the time?
For sure. I believe what I did was I took the image and flipped it, right? I think I just drew it one way and then it was a duplication.
Right.
If I remember right, that's what it was. So that kind of thing, I've been doing that ever since. I've been doing that a lot. And I do it in my videos where, you know, like, you know, my face and then the other side of, you know, I just flip that image. It's hard to do on it anyway, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm looking around. If I have a picture, I probably have something sitting around. Anyway, I put that dualistic thing in my videos as well. And the other day I put a quote in there from Aleister Crowley. And I'm not going to say the quote exactly because I can't remember, but all he was saying, it's just a real simple statement. He said, every thought that you have, consider its opposite, because the marriage of those two thoughts is where you're going to find, you know, balance.
Excellent. It's very interesting where you derive some of your inspirations and your thinking process, everything from the 48 Laws to Power to Aleister Crowley to Buddhist meditation to Donald Trump. So quite a wide range of experiences going on in your mind there. So what would your final message be to our viewers? What would you say to our viewers in finality?
So broad.
Maybe a piece of advice or like a little words of wisdom to leave with.
Well, I mean, like what I'm currently facing biggest in my life is the censorship that I'm seeing on Facebook or whatever. Yeah, it's just Facebook, who cares? But I don't think people understand where we're headed technology-wise in the future. And with these vaccines, I didn't even mention mandates. Wow. All this stuff, it's not a coincidence that it's all happening at the same time. The media, the what do you call it, pharmaceutical, you know, they are working on something for control. So if you're going to be a badass, you got to decide and you got to make it 100%. So that's where I'm at right now. Do I want a career or do I want to keep speaking up? I'm not sure.
Interesting. It's quite an interesting process there going on, like, you know, the tension in your mind. And I think that tension is good for artistic output. So is there anybody you would like to thank, give some shout outs, maybe even a couple of fuck yous while you're at it? No, I'm just kidding.
Probably got a few of those now.
Yeah, I got quite a few of those right now. I'm going to load it up right now.
So, a friend who's still behind me in Reno. I've made some enemies there because of my political switching sides. But one person who's above the fray, I don't think we necessarily agree politically, but his name is Pan Pantoja, and he's given me a show of my work in November at a gallery that he curates in Reno there, and that's called Mystic Savage. Oh,
Excellent.
yeah. Yeah.
Sounds fun. It's a great title.
I always want to say that backwards. Savage Mystic. Maybe I am saying it backwards. I think I did.
Well, that's the
anyway, that's in November.
Position is working for you.
That's true. I'm getting it backwards. Maybe I'm dyslexic. But that's in November, and it's going to be more kind of spiritual art, like the painting that's behind me, which is basically a representation of the Tibetan flag.
Excellent. Beautiful.
So a lot of that kind of stuff. So no Trump.
No Trump. no trumpet for Trump this time.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Well, thanks for joining us on the show. It's been really interesting talking to you. Most of the people I noticed that we have on the show are more left of center. And so it's kind of cool to just have somebody present some right-wing views and some interesting insights into, I don't know, I guess you could call it the psychology or the thought process of a conservative artist that's been shadow banned and banned from Facebook multiple times for long periods of time. So thanks for joining us, Chad, and I hope you have a pleasant afternoon. If you're viewing the program right now, hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have some subscribers to our YouTube. Just keep adding on, telling others about us. Get some people on the show, get some guests for us if you want to tell others that we want to have you on the program. And you can also donate, paypal.me/NYParrot. If you donate, it's like giving and love to us. We love you, then you love us. And we would greatly appreciate any kind of assistance that you can help monetarily, as well as inviting your friends and family and others to subscribe to the station here on the YouTube and talk about us, share our flyers. And if you want to be on the show or invite another person on the show, tell others, you can get in touch with me, Dustin Pickering, at literarycorner@newyorkparrot.com. That's my email there for this station. And if your guys are anticipating the wonderful anthology we're about to put out, Series 2 of the Literary Parrot, that'll be out December 1st. We're getting those emails rolling to get to those who are invited to send up their work. So don't forget, if you've got the email and you have not submitted your work, please do. We need your work to put in the book so we can make this book a huge success. And we'll have pre-orders coming out pretty quick. So keep an eye out for that. And, like I said, we want you on the program. Anybody out there, that's doing creative work, we'll give you a voice. And we're a global, international audience here, so we want you to be heard, and we want to put your work out for people to enjoy and appreciate and make comments on while we're doing the program and beyond that. So I hope you enjoyed Chad Sorg and his artwork and his interesting thoughts on the variety of things we discussed. I'm Dustin Pickering, and this has been New York Parrot's Literary Corner, 207th episode, a milestone. We're making milestones here, over 200 episodes since March. So it's been an excellent time with you guys. Subscribe to our channel. Get out there writing, painting, whatever creative work you do. Don't let anything stop you. Keep it going. Have a great afternoon.
Listen to the people. Listen to humanity. Listen to the parrot. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot. Listen to the people. Listen to humanity. Listen to the parrot. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Listen to the people. Listen to humanity. Listen to the parrot. Parrot TV. 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 Parrot TV.
The Literary Corner, brought to you by New York Parrot TV, the